Peace, 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 peace. Woo! Should I jump right into it? Oh my God. Greetings to all. Peace, peace, greetings to all. Just a brief message. Let's give honor to Source, the Creator, Most High, whatever power you feel you believe in. Let's give honor to Source. Let me tell y'all something. This shit may look easy, but it's not. Let me say it becomes easier as you begin to master what you're doing. But let me tell you, it's not as easy, especially on the outside looking in. Where I'm getting at is, again, I'm not gonna make this very long, but when you are pioneering, there are very few people that know where I'm coming from. And there are very few people that are willing and having the courage to step into that very thing that I'm speaking about, which is pioneering, trailblazing your own way of things. Like it's almost like a confession in a way of like, bro, you go through things where you have to have unwavering faith. You have to have unwavering faith to be really believing that, to some people, like what you're doing is like really unrealistic to them, or like like thinking like, oh, this motherfucker crazy. He crazy to even believe like that's gonna work. And that's when you have to get into it. Like, you really got to do it. You really got to get into it. You really got to, like, let me tell you, man, like, not just even as an artist, just as just anyone that has been given a vision. And, you know, and what I mean just by vision, I mean like the faith that you have to even know what it is to pioneer or just create your own lane and be able to be confident in who you are, and staying in that, recognizing the distractions. I mean, especially for one, you know, I talked on my previous video, it's like there was a lot of things that I could not conform to because it just seems very familiar to everyone else. But that's why I feel most people get stuck. They get stuck in what was familiar or what is familiar to them, and they get comfortable. And then there's a saying goes, or like I've said in previous videos, where people get comfortable in the smell of like shit. Like literally, like they can smell something and they know like how can I say this? It's like you've been in the shit so long that you don't even realize like how it's affecting you and those around you. So since I've been young, again, I've always said like how I've always been a risk taker. And one thing about being a risk taker is that that's a part of embracing the unknown. A lot of people are not ready to step outside of their comfort zone. A lot of people are not ready to go down that path where they have to trailblaze and literally create something stone by stone, brick by brick, pave their own way. And in the midst of that, you're battling with the fact of self-doubt, imposter syndrome. If you don't know, research it. You're battling with a lot of things that even as a man, one of the most biggest things is like, again, the culture that I grew up in, people that I grew up around that, you know, were distracted so much by women. That was one of my biggest challenges, is that how, yeah, women are beautiful. You know, you can have an attraction to someone, but everything that looks good ain't good for you. You know, a lot of things when we were younger as men, we weren't taught these things. We weren't taught the importance, you know, a lot of us as vetting people, or not allowing people to get so close to you, or allowing people so close, you know, that they're wanting to know any and everything about you. Again, these are things I've had to unlearn and relearn now in my 30s, and becoming more aware of a behavior pattern where I realized like, wow, had I known this years ago, would I have been in a better position? No, I tell myself I don't have no regrets or feel shame. I'm just more confident now, realizing like I'm able to almost like see people's spiritual warfare before they do, even if they're not aware of it. I'm almost like accurate. That's what intuition is like. That, you know, you being in tune. I'm almost positive that, you know, this ain't the best look. Now through that, I've had to go through things where I have to learn the lesson to even realize like I've even been in dynamics where your own spouse or partner in the past, when you are trying to pioneer your way, when you are trying to build things from scratch almost, you know, build your own life, rebuild your life with unlearning self-sabotaging behaviors. So with that, like that is a huge challenge for a lot of people, because, you know, they're so familiar with mom and dad has told them. They're so familiar with you know, being comfortable in said hometown, being comfortable in said toxic or, you know, behavior patterns or relationships or dysfunctional relationships and, you know, family dynamics. One thing that has always, like, one thing I realized, like, as pioneering or paving my own way, I had to break free from that, man. Like, when you talk about being a generational curse breaker, it looks real easy, you know, when a lot of things you have to unlearn, and as you're relearning, you're having to dig into this information, learn things on your own. Or, you know, with my path, it's like not really knowing like who to trust because of you know, childhood traumas or certain behavior patterns, which, again, not blaming anyone, is just a certain thing that you realize, like, as you grow, how did I learn these behavior patterns? How did I realize that, you know, why is my life looking the way it's looking? Okay, so as a generational curse breaker, I have to recognize, okay, what can I change? And in that, it's very challenging. Got the hair everywhere. So it's very challenging because you, as you're pioneering your way, you're doing something, like I've spoken about this, and I had to come to the self-realization as I'm pioneering my own way and trying to do things like confidently. It's very, you know, a lot of doubt, a lot of things come up to realize, like, fuck, bro, what am I going to do? Where am I going to get these finances from? Who am I going to ask for support from? It literally brings up the uncomfortability of you growing up in childhood or experiences where you've seen people become so conformed or so comfortable in the narrative that they feel was, honestly feel like, you know, some people feel like God gave them that narrative, like this is all, and it's not. Because, and that's where the self-realization I came in at. It's like, you know, I gotta, you know, I deserve more. I deserve a prosperous, luxurious life in that sense of how I perceive it to be. Not like how everybody, you know, the world tells, but there are people that are comfortable. And I'm telling you, bro, that's one of the most challenging things as you're pioneering your way, because you will see, like, or come to the awareness, like, no one's in your way. Some of these people don't realize that they're in their own way. And so in that conflict, or in that internal conflict, they'll try to, you know, project that onto you. And, you know, like I said, being in partnerships or relationships or even business-ship, that shit is challenging you, trying to pioneer your own way. You trying to believe that you can do these things and so forth, even when no one believes in you. You have to, like, literally, I had to learn to believe in the inevitable, or believe in the impossible. And when I look at the word impossible, I realize it's impossible. Like, I can do all things. And so, you know, bro, pioneering your own way, it's like trying to do my art thing in my own way. Like, you know, and I say these things in an encouraging and an inspirational way for the youth that a lot of us are going through what we see as an economic, some may see it as an economic crisis. We're going through one of the greatest transfer of generational wealth, as I perceive it, and some have spoken about this. And what I mean by that is, like, it's when you look at the shift that's happening, and you can look at this, whether it's